I'd like to welcome our next guests, Bridget Wolfe and Jana Anderson. Please come on stage right now. There you are. Hi, Janet.
Hello. How are you?
Hi. Great to see you. I see
Nice
Bridget coming on. There you are. Hi, Bridget.
Hello.
You got some funky
Hi,
stuff
Janet.
with your background.
Oh,
that's all right.
maybe I need to move. Okay. Must just be a shadow.
It's so
That
great
better?
to see both of you. Yes, it's good. Janet, I was just thinking, it wasn't a year ago because that would have been March, right, when we were supposed to be doing this. But a year ago, March, we were out to dinner in DC and having cocktails, and I miss that.
I miss it too. I haven't gotten my hair cut even. That's crazy.
Oh, I know we all have COVID hair. I know Bridget, her husband's doing a really good job. So, but it's great to see you, and I'm looking forward to this conversation. So for our audience members that just joined us, I'm Debra Giordano. I'm Vice President of Service Delivery for Equus Workforce Solutions. And I'm delighted to welcome and introduce our guests for this half-hour session. So joining us is Jana Anderson, who's the Director of Northwest Pennsylvania Job Connect, the local workforce development board covering a 6-county area in Northwest Pennsylvania. She's been the director since 2015 and has been successful in developing a system that is innovative and responsive to the changing needs of individuals with barriers to employment and employers. A grad of Penn State University, Ms. Anderson has more than 30 years in economic development, which really, I'm sure, provides you with a unique perspective on workforce development. Janet served as the Deputy Secretary of Administration at the Pennsylvania Department of Labor and Industry and worked in the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development as the Manager of Foreign Direct Investment. You've held several other leadership positions in nonprofit economic development organizations, and I know you're a proud mom of 2 daughters. Janet, welcome.
Thank you.
And joining Janet is my friend and colleague, Bridget Wolfe. Bridget Wolfe is a regional director for Equus Workforce Solutions, and you've been on our team since 2012. And Bridget supports the region that Janet comes from, the Northwest Pennsylvania region. And so we asked Bridget to join Janet because together you guys have really transformed that region. I'm going to brag on Bridget a little bit. Bridget actually won this year at our annual conference, Regional Director of the Year, which is a really huge deal in our company, and congratulations, Bridget. And really it's that you bring a broad mix of analytical, management, leadership, and problem-solving skills to the team and to the work that you do with your projects. But Bridget has more than 20 years of workforce and management experience. She successfully operated integrated workforce programs in multiple states and locations. You actually began your career with TANF operations, but have also really developed significant expertise with one-stops and integrated systems overhaul. Bridget graduated from Ohio University with degrees in political science and business administration, and is a native of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, although she resides in Columbus, Ohio, and I know she's a very proud mom of 2 young gentlemen. Welcome, Bridget.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Deb. And I should also acknowledge that you have a congratulations on your Vice President of the Year award, which is a very big award with Equus as well.
Well, that's sweet of you. Thank you, Bridget. So Janet, let's get going. Tell our viewers and listeners a little bit about your region, the geography, demographics, economy. Give us a flavor.
Sure. So we are a 6-county area in Northwest Pennsylvania. We have 1 urban county, Erie, Pennsylvania, Erie County, and we have 5 rural counties, Clarion, Crawford, Forest, Venango, and Warren. We are a population of about 560,000 people, and half of those reside in Erie County and the remaining half in the other 5 counties that we serve. We are primarily manufacturing, but we're a pretty diverse economy here in Northwest Pennsylvania. In addition to manufacturing, we have a pretty strong service sector. We are headquarters to Erie Insurance, and we are we house and several hospitals and universities reside here in Northwest Pennsylvania as well. We also are proud of our tourist industry here in Northwest Pennsylvania. We have a lot of rivers, lakes. The Great Lake, Erie, is right here with beaches. Yes, we actually have beaches in Northwest Pennsylvania. And we also get snow, which presents a lot of opportunity for outdoor activity, although some would question that. So we, I mean, like all of you, we have suffered at the closures of COVID. Our businesses have really had tough times, and we are working through that as we start to reopen. Many are making difficult decisions at this point, trying to decide whether to stay the course, whether to make changes, and how to manage going forward. No different than probably most other areas.
Right. Well, you have a beautiful area. I'd love to come visit you. I'm a native of that part of the country. And so just a really gorgeous area and really quite remarkable region when when you just mentioned the fact that half of your population is in Erie and the other half are really spread out across those other counties. It's quite a urban rural mix. So Jana, what's most remarkable, and I know Bridget was a big player in this, was you really made major shifts in your service delivery model. I think it's probably, you started this a few years ago now. And I know this was a really big deal. And you had, cheerleaders and supporters, and you also had naysayers and doubters and, and I remember you just determined and focused on making this big change, which really meant reducing bricks and mortar, while at the same time promising people that would mean still expanded access to services. So share with our audience what that shift was like and some lessons learned, where it is today, and how it prepared you for this current environment we're in.
Sure. So 5 years ago, we started with our board having conversations about where the money was going and what the future held for us in terms of service delivery, what we were going to be able to continue to provide. At the time, we had 5 brick and mortar sites, and we're a large area. We didn't want to reduce service to anyone, yet we have elected officials too, and they all wanted to keep their little piece of the puzzle in their backyard. So we started the conversation and we shared with them the impact. We gave them real numbers, we provided them with details, and we started down a path of closing sites. We closed 3 of the 5 sites that we had, leaving 2 open, and one is in Erie, the other is in the center of our 5 rural counties. And the promise was that we would continue to serve clients in a mobile way, similar to a sales force, where we would go out into the community. And I took WIOA literally in establishing relationships and partnerships with other organizations, leveraging dollars. And so we began down the path of starting to really put those, put our foot to the pedal and put those relationships in place. It took us nearly 2 years to really get from the design and the decision to the point where we were actually putting it on the ground. And we were fortunate that Equus came on and joined us, and Bridget was our project director. And we got a team that was really engaged in what we were doing, liked the idea, accepted it, and moved forward with us through thick and thin. It was not always easy. We had a lot of naysayers, including some of our funders. And there were a lot of trials and tribulations, but we could not have done it without Bridget and her team actually at the forefront and pushing the idea out into the community and forging those relationships. So it's been really great for us. We're really happy with the way it turned out. It was not easy. If I had it to do over again at this stage, I might rethink it. But it was worth every sleepless night that we had along the way. Because honestly, when March 15th came and Pennsylvania shut down, we were poised to begin serving clients in a virtual way. And we had equipment. We shut our facilities down on March 16th. We said, go home, take your laptops, take your cell phones. We are forwarding phones. Get ready to serve in a way that you've never thought you would. And we have not missed a beat. It hasn't been easy. It's been almost another mobile experience, if you will. But the staff has been great. They've really forged ahead and really kept the client, whether it be a job seeker or a youth or an employer, at the forefront, and really pushed ahead with serving them virtually.
Well, congratulations, because I know that was a big undertaking. And Bridget, I'm going to pull you into this for a minute. As someone who would be in these meetings with Janet, and you would hear from her and her board the vision they had for this. And I know that it was difficult, and there were stumbles along the way in trying to make it work. From the operational aspect of it, Bridget, share with our audience maybe one or two of the challenges that you ran into that maybe others could avoid in order to get to that sweet spot.
Sure, thanks, Deb. And I would say, I think when we came on, one of the most positive things that really pushed us forward first was the fact that the WIB and Janet had a very clear vision of how services were to be provided in the communities, and set our goals and our deliverables to meet each and every single one of those expectations. And just as an example, we were to have so many service sites in each of the counties, going back to the commitment that, that they had made to the CLEOs, because as Janet alluded to, CLEOs, are concerned about what happens if I do not have a bricks and mortar in my area, what will happen. And, our assurance to them was we will be able to serve more people with the resources that we have. Probably a couple of the first tickets. So the first thing we had to do was change the culture. We had to come in being a brand new provider in the area and hire staff that we felt would embrace the new model and new system, and it wasn't going to be business as usual. So that was kind of hurdle number one. We had a very quick turnaround to do it in. Within 60 days, we had to be fully staffed and ready to go. I would say that the largest hurdle, I wish we would have done more. I think we did a lot of planning in the beginning. Jen and I sat and talked. But I wish we would have brought that group into a larger group and made sure our lead operators were there. Our mobile service delivery manager, our project director. If we would have expanded, I think, our leadership team that would have done the initial planning, that would have been helpful, because we were kind of doing the planning and then taking it to the management team to operationalize. So, and then, improved relationships with the partners would have been my second part, trying to share the vision with the partners in a way that we could have articulated better what we did. There's always a scare when there's change, or there's a very often a scare when there's change. And so how we could have articulated what we're going to do and how we're going to do it better in a more thoughtful process to put at ease our partners in the path that we were going down, and include them in that planning stage a little bit more, I think would have been the two areas that I would have liked to expand it upon.
Yeah, it is funny when you're on a train and it's running down the tracks. It's like you're trying to grab everybody to bring them along and not run anybody over in the process, right? Which really brings me to a question about partnerships, because partnerships is very key in that model, and even more important during what we're going through right now. So talk to me about the status of your partnerships and how they've evolved over time. You hinted at that, Janet, but I'd love to talk just a little bit more about that.
Sure. So mobile sort of set the stage for our ability to reach outside of the bricks and mortar, those required core partners, and to establish partnerships with groups that we had never really been partners with. It was less, as Bridget alluded to, it was less focused on the internal partners, because I think we thought they would come along and see the value in this, and instead what we had was a lot of pushback from the partners that were there internally, at least initially. What I would say is that the partnerships that were forged outside of the brick and mortar site are valuable and really help to carry us through that period of time. The silver lining from COVID and the closure is that the partnerships internally have grown. And in part because we had the equipment, we had the ability to continue to provide services. And some of our internal partners that were unwilling to embrace this saw the value. All of a sudden the light went on, and they were very aware of the value of what had happened. And we were very willing to share equipment and things so that they were able to work from home and add value as well, because we felt that they were valuable in the process. So at the end of the day, our relationships at this point in time are far better than they were over the last 3 and 4 years where I was driving this, and poor Bridget had to deal with me on a regular basis. But it's better now than it's ever been. We are looking forward to additional partnerships that have come about as a result of COVID as well. Others want to be engaged with us. And I think those partnerships that were weak are stronger, and those that were stronger, even stronger.
That's terrific. That's a great story to be able to tell. So you guys have done a couple of really cool things with technology in your region. I was on your website today and checking some of that out. Would you want to share a couple of those things, that innovative things you've done with the use of technology?
Sure. So because we are we've broken down the box, if you will. We've jumped out, and I am an accountant by training. So this is really crazy that I'm the one really driving it. But we are looking at ways to serve clients in areas. I mentioned we are 5 rural counties. We don't always have broadband available.
I remember driving around and not having cell phone access
or cell phone service. So we have to get really innovative in the way that we are serving our clients, especially if we don't have brick and mortar sites, and even more especially when everything around us is closed. So we started out working with some of our school districts on identification of hotspots. What libraries, what school districts, because school districts were trying to teach kids from home, right? So they had expanded their Wi-Fi into their parking lots. And so we did a map of all of those spots so that clients and parents, adults, students, everyone would know where those hotspots were. In the course of that, we became aware of a group called IDRC and ITDRC, and I don't know what the acronym means right now, but they're a nonprofit organization that was expanding hotspots as well in rural communities. And so we partnered with them. We helped them to identify spots. They are working with us now. We're talking about technology in those hotspots so that people can walk up to a computer or a kiosk and get right to our staff, whether it be outside a building, inside a building. Another thing that we did that was really cool, and we're still in the testing phase, is we have installed a Ring video doorbell at one of our local chambers of commerce. And with it, they had Wi-Fi, but we can put, as long as they have cell phone service, we can put a MiFi. And we can put these into communities where Wi-Fi or internet broadband access is not readily available. And we can have individuals come up and ring the doorbell and actually be connected to several of our talent development specialists to have a conversation about what their needs are. Some other things that we are doing that I don't think is really unique, but we are using the Ring Central phone service. So we're using that so that we're actually able to communicate with individuals from their cell phone, their own laptop, their computer at home, those types of things. But some people don't have data plans. And so we've been looking at using supportive service dollars to help them to communicate with us regularly, just like we would give them a bus pass to get to and from, or gas money to get to and from our office or the job. So we're looking at out of the box ways to stay in touch with our clients. We're using automated services to contact clients regularly so they feel in touch and engaged. We're just looking at absolutely everything. The Ring doorbell was the one that I'm really excited about and hoping takes off, because I think you know, if it works, we'll be putting Ring doorbells in every library or county office so that we're accessible no matter where you are.
That is fantastic. Bridget, I'm curious, how did the local team, did they embrace all of this new stuff quickly and champion it?
Yes, absolutely. You know, one of the great things of working in the Northwest region is that the innovation is endless. We sit down and we brainstorm and we talk about what works and will it work, and Janet and the board are willing to try just about anything within reason. And, you know, we're able to go out and do things like she said with the Ring doorbell. If it works, we have a new avenue for service delivery. And if it doesn't work, let's figure out why and make it work. So with already being mobile, you know, this was just another avenue for us to be able to service an individual in need of you know, information. So it was completely embraced by the staff. You know, we've been able to do virtual job fairs, just kind of when we thought we were mobile with the changes in COVID. Now we're kind of virtual and mobile. So we were running to the finish line and then we started running again. But we've done virtual job fairs. So just kind of anything that we were doing that had that human connection piece that we needed to have a virtual piece, we've looked at and installed. And it was really one of the great things about the mobile staff is that was the way that they were used to providing service, back to that cultural change that I talked about. So this was just another way for them to be able to help a person in need.
That's awesome. You know, we could go on all day. I hate that our time is close, but I want to end this segment with just a question to you, Janet, about, you know, as your team and your board kind of grapple with some big decisions about the future of your system, what kinds of things are you talking about when it comes to supporting marginalized communities and those really deeply affected industries? What are just a couple of things that your board is talking about?
So I'm going to say we got lucky again. We don't have a crystal ball, but about a year ago, we started talking about those marginalized populations, those individuals that were slipping through the cracks, perhaps. And we started down a path working in partnership with the state of Pennsylvania to do a workforce needs assessment. And we modeled it after Iowa and tweaked it to meet our needs. And I'm proud to say that we received the funding. We were ready to go in March to kick it off, and then COVID hit. And we worked with our contractors, and we postponed until later this year. They are working on pieces and parts. We want the data to really settle before we go out. We also want our employers to have a chance to get back up and running and be comfortable. But we are really looking at what the needs are of those marginalized populations, those that may be diverse and not considered in the normal everyday conversation of workforce. And we want to look at those and really bring them to the fore, as well as our employers who are looking for individuals for entry-level positions. So we got lucky again, and we really had it all teed up and ready to go, and we're really moving in that direction. And technology is going to be a key to that. So I am sure that we will be talking more about how we bring that to the forefront so that we're able to serve those populations effectively.
Well, thank you. And I know you call it luck, but those of us who do this work, and particularly those of us that know you, know it really just comes down to being a visionary and then doing the work behind it, actually executing on it. So congratulations for all the accomplishments so far and for continuing to lead in many of these areas. Bridget, thanks for joining us today. Great to see you as well. And I look forward to our next in-person visit together. Have a great day and enjoy the rest of the forum. Thank you.
Thank you both.